Hi there, I'm Christiane of Anchorage, Alaska, the Yoga Collective. Tonight we are doing 12 yoga poses featured in Dr. Loren Fishman's Yoga for Osteoporosis. These 12 poses he chose and studied in a 10-year study of 741 yoga students, the vast majority of which had osteoporosis when they began, 83%. And he studied them, encouraged them to do these 12 poses daily, holding each side for 30 seconds. And at the end of the study could demonstrate that it was more effective, significant improvement in their bone mineral density of the femur and spine, more so than even medication. So let's start in our standing position. I do have a couple of props here. I have blocks and a chair as an option and a belt available. Sometimes a wall is handy. So let's get on the mat and try these 12 poses out. We're going to start with tree pose, the first of the 12. So we'll find our Tadasana. I do have my arm in a sling because I broke my shoulder, but I'll demonstrate as best as I can. Start with a few inches of space between your feet. Balance your weight between the balls of your feet and the heels, between the pinky sides of the feet and the big toe sides of the feet. So trying to find that midpoint between them all. And we'll energize our legs, firming the inner trochanters toward each other to stabilize the hips. Lift the heart center away from the belly. Broaden and relax the collarbones. Turn your palms to face forward. Take a breath in and out. All right, on our next inhalation, let's lift our arms up to T-shape. Turn your palms down for now. Shift your weight over to your left foot. Peel up the right heel. Lift that right foot off into the air. Rotate that right knee out to the side and place that right foot somewhere along this left leg that works for you, the ankle, the calf, or even the thigh. So it helps to focus your gaze on a spot that's not moving, so find something to rest your eyesight on. And then we'll engage the muscles of the legs, the hips. We'll pull this right knee back toward the wall behind us a bit. We'll keep our balance. And if we'd like, we can turn our palms skyward and lift them up overhead, bringing the palms together overhead. Extending from the middle of the back all the way up through the thumbs. Take 3 breaths here. And then we'll bring the hands back to T-shape. We'll draw this right knee forward. We'll step it down and wiggle it out maybe a little. We'll do that same thing on the other side. So we'll start in our Tadasana. Balance our weight between the heels and the balls of the feet, between the outer arches and inner arches. Engage the legs, stabilize the hips, lift the heart center, broaden and relax the shoulders. And we'll lift our arms up to that T-shape, palms facing down. Focus the gaze. Shift your weight to the right foot while we peel up the left heel. Lift that left knee out in front. Open it out to the side and choose a place on that right leg to place your left foot. We'll see if we can engage the legs and the hips. We'll draw that left knee behind us just a bit more, engaging our outer glute. Focus the gaze. If you'd like, you can turn the palms up, lift them up overhead. Take 3 breaths. And then we'll slowly lower our hands back to T-shape. Draw that left knee forward. Step it on down. Lower the arms and wiggle it out. Tree pose, energizing through the spine, lifting up through our legs. We're engaging our psoas muscles, staying tall. From here, we'll move to triangle. If you want to reach for blocks, you can set those up, and if you prefer to reach to a chair, we'll set that up instead. If you were to reach to a chair, you just place at least 2 feet of the chair on the mat in front of you. You can reach for that. I think I'll try the chair this time. If you're reaching for blocks, you might want to build yourself a little block platform, placing one flat and the other tall on there. And we'll start with our right foot forward, pointing the toes of the right foot toward a short end of your yoga mat. Big step back with the left foot. We want the left toes tilted a little away from the back of the yoga mat to protect your back knee. We'll square our shoulders with the long side of the mat, raise our arms up to T-shaped arms. We'll turn our gaze over the back of the right hand, lift that heart center away from the belly, and then we'll reach across like we're trying to touch something just out of reach with the right fingertips. Lengthen from the right hip to the armpit, and lower that right hand to the chair, or landing pad or block, or whatever you're reaching for. Now this left hand can come to the hip. We'll lift and turn that left shoulder so that we can peek up, or if you have high blood pressure or want to calm yourself, keep the gaze at the horizon or even down toward the ground. We're energizing our legs through the pinky sides of the feet, so maybe slightly lift your inner arches. And we can extend our left arm up toward the sky, extending it out from the collarbone. Take 3 breaths here. Then we'll follow that left hand while we lift our torso up and out. We'll rotate on our heels so our toes are all facing the same direction. And we'll shimmy or step our feet together underneath us. Let's turn to the other side. I'm going to shift to my chair, but you are welcome to stay where you're at. This time it's the left foot forward, right foot taking a big step back. Square shoulders with the long side of the mat. Raise those arms up to T-shaped arms. Check the integrity of your back knee by making sure your heel is a little closer to the back edge of the mat than your toes are. We'll turn our gaze out toward the back of the left hand, and then we'll reach that left arm out like you're trying to touch something over the chair. And we'll bring that hand down to our landing pad. Might have to move that a little closer, I bet. This right arm can come to the hip, and we'll shrug that shoulder back so that we feel the shoulder blade move in toward our spine. We can turn our gaze up toward the ceiling, keep it at the horizon, or even lower it to the ground. And if we'd like, we can open this right arm out from the collarbone. It may not be straight up toward the ceiling, but straight out from the collarbone. We'll take 3 breaths here. And we'll follow that hand up and out. Ooh. We'll rotate on our heels, and we'll shimmy and step our feet together underneath us. Now I'll move to Warrior 2. So I'll set my chair aside. Let's start with our right foot forward. Left foot takes a big step back. Once again, we square our shoulders with the long side of the mat. Raise your arms up to T-shaped arms. We'll turn our gaze over the back of the right hand. This time we lower the right thigh until that knee is just about over the ankle. Take a look and make sure you're not going past over the ankle. That puts too much strain here at the knee joint. So we'll back it up a little bit to protect our knees for long-term usage. We'll engage the lower belly, lifting in toward the spine and up toward the heart. We'll keep our breath flowing. Lengthen the lower back. If my left arm was not in a sling, I would try to hold it straight out behind me, just like the right arm, but on the opposite side. 3 breaths here. Now we'll straighten out that front leg. Pivot on our heels. Let's pivot all the way around so the left foot's pointing toward the short side of the mat. The right heel's a little closer toward that back side of the mat than the toes are. Again, we'll raise our arms up to T-shaped arms. Turn our gaze over the back of the left hand. And we'll lower this left thigh this time until we find that knee over the ankle. Again, if we want to go too far, we'll have to shimmy that foot forward or back it out a little bit until we have our protected knee. Engage that lower belly, in toward the heart, or in toward the spine, up toward the heart. Have a breath. And then 2 more. Lift up and out of that. Shimmy on our heels. Step our feet together underneath us and lower our arms down. Yes. All right, so from here we're going to move to evolved, side angle first. So we'll do our side angle pose. It's very similar. We start in Warrior 2, which we just wrapped up, except that we will add a little twist. So right foot forward, left foot takes a big step back. Square our shoulders alongside the mat. Raise those arms up to T-shaped arms. Check the integrity of your back knee joint, making sure the heel's a little closer to the back of the mat. Lower that front thigh. Not too far. Find your Warrior 2 for a moment. Engage that lower belly, your Mula Bandha. Even the pelvic floor gets in on the action, lifting in toward the body cavity. Then we fold forward, bringing the front forearm to the front thigh, palm facing up. And we can extend our left arm up overhead, bicep near the ear. And see if we can rotate our torso so we can peek under that lifted left arm up toward the sky. For more of a challenge, you can let this right arm dangle and use all your deep muscles to help keep your torso at this angle. 3 breaths. Then we'll rotate that left arm up and out. Return to Warrior 2 briefly. Lengthen that front leg. Pivot on the heels over to the left side. Make sure that back heel's a little closer to the back of the mat than the toes. We'll raise our arms up to T-shaped arms, both arms. We'll lower that front thigh. Now it's the left thigh. Find our Warrior 2. Then we'll fold forward, left forearm to the left thigh. We'll swing that right arm down, lift it out until the biceps near the ear. And then see if you can rotate the torso so you're peeking out from underneath that right arm up toward the sky. If you want more of a challenge, you can dangle that left arm. And we'll take 3 breaths. And we'll follow this right arm up. Return to Warrior 2 for a moment. Lengthen out that front leg. Pivot on your heels. Shimmy or step your feet together underneath you. Now we'll move to Revolved Triangle. Revolved Triangle is a pretty heavy-duty twist. So keep in mind if you have sciatic issues, this may aggravate it. It may be worth giving it a try, but a brief one, or you could just skip ahead to the next pose. For revolved triangle, I'm going to utilize the chair. And if we start this time with our left foot forward, we'll take a small, medium-sized step back with the right foot. And we'll keep our shoulders squared with the front edge of the mat, the short edge of the mat. If you'd like to use a block instead of a chair, you may. Maybe put blocks down on either side of that front foot. So, we're going to keep ourselves oriented toward the front of the chair. I like to raise up our right arm into the air. Keep the left hand on the hip. We'll fold forward like we're reaching over the back of the chair or across the room. And then we'll bring this right hand down to its landing pad, be it the chair or a block on either side of that front foot. The left hand comes to the hip, and then we begin the action of lifting and turning the heart center a bit toward the left. If you need to adjust the back heel or lift it for knee comfort and security, please do so. If you feel comfortable, you could take that left hand and extend it out from the collarbone out into the air up toward the sky. It may not be straight up toward the ceiling. If you prefer, you can keep the left hand on your hip. 3 breaths here. Lengthen the spine with each inhalation. Soften the belly as you exhale. And then we'll root into our feet, reorient our gaze toward the front edge of the mat, and then lift our way up. We can put our hands behind our backs in Anjali Mudra, the palms together position, or grasp an opposite forearm behind us. We'll lift our heart center, lift the gaze, do that back bend. So we lift our chin and nose up toward the sky. We come back to center. Whew. We'll step our feet together underneath us, release our arms, wiggle it out. So now we'll have the right foot forward, left foot taking that small or medium-sized step back. Keeping those shoulders squared with the front of the mat. This time it's the left arm that reaches into the air. And then we'll extend out that left arm as though we're reaching over the back of the chair or across the room. And then bring that left hand down to your landing pad. The right hand stays on the hip, and we'll lift and turn the torso off toward the left. I'm sorry, the opposite, toward the right. Maybe you can extend out that right arm from the collarbone. May not be straight up toward the ceiling. Then have 3 breaths. We'll return our hands. Ground with the front edge of the mat. Feel the feet. We'll raise the torso back up. Hands come behind us once again. Whatever position feels best for you. And we'll lift that heart center, lift the gaze. We'll return our gaze to the horizon. Release the hands, step our feet together underneath us. You know, Dr. Fishman says he's in New York, and he is currently conducting a secondary study trying to help define which of these poses may be beneficial, or is it all of them? Is it just one? He did say, for all I know, it could be the revolved triangle is the one that does the magic, and everything else is just a bonus, or maybe they all help. So he's trying to help isolate variables and get it fine-tuned with a current ongoing study. The one that we're working on tonight was published back in 2015. So it is known good data, but now he's working on focusing it in even more. All right. So for the rest of these poses, we'll be down on the ground. Let's set our chair aside. Make sure you have a belt handy, perhaps a block, and we'll find, are we down to our bellies on the ground? I think I better turn this way. If you have a hard floor, you might want to put a blanket down. But we'll start with locust pose. So we'll extend our arms at our sides, turn your palms up. You can choose a cheek or a forehead to rest on. And we'll point our toes out so the toenails are in contact with the mat. Then we'll engage our Mula Bandha. So we'll begin at the pelvic floor, the lower belly, moving in toward the spine and up toward the heart. And then we'll lift the face off the mat. We'll lift the shoulders, lift the hands, and then engage to lift the feet off the ground as well. We can turn our palms to face toward our hips. And we'll have 3 breaths here. Feel the shoulder blades hug in toward the spine. And then we'll relax down onto the ground. Pick a cheek to rest on. Let your legs soften. Take some easy breaths. And we'll begin our engagement to repeat that one more time. So engage that Mula Bandha. Lift the head, lift the shoulders, lift the hands, lift the feet, and maybe turn the hands to point toward the hips, and take 3 breaths. Alrighty, we'll lower ourselves down, choose the other cheek for just a moment. And then we're going to roll over onto our backs and prepare for bridge pose. So resting on our backs, bend your knees, place your feet near the hips. We'll keep our feet in line with our knees, in line with our hips, so our thigh bones are parallel to each other. We can rest the back of our hands on the ground or keep our elbows bent 90 degrees with our palms in the air facing toward each other to engage the muscles of the upper torso. So if we firm our elbows downward, you might feel a lift and engagement across the upper torso. Alrighty, we're going to lift up to bridge pose, lifting the hips. So we have a nice long diagonal from the knees to the chest. And then we'll work at puffing our chest out as though we take a deep breath. You can feel your chest lift and puff. We want to keep it that way even as we exhale. So keep breathing, keep the belly moving the breath in and out, but see if you can keep that chest engaged, puffed out with a deep inhale. Keep the chest in that position as you exhale. Take another breath in. Let the chest stay as is as you exhale. One more time. And we'll slowly lower back down to earth. You can let the feet widen and the knees rest together to rest the legs. Have a few breaths here. And we will repeat that one more time. So engaging the body in its bridge pose, the feet come back to about as wide as the thigh bones are. We'll keep the knees, feet, and tops of the thigh bones all parallel to each other. We'll engage our Mula Bandha, lift our bridge into position, maybe firm the elbows down, expand and puff out the chest, and have some breaths. You should feel the low back helping to lift up toward the sky. See if you can keep the chest puffed out after a deep inhalation. Keep the chest as is as you exhale. Fill that chest with a deep breath again. Keep it as is as you exhale. And do that one more time. And then we'll slowly lower our bridges back down to the mat. Let the knees sway from side to side to reintegrate the hips and the low back. Woo. Alrighty. Next, we're going to need a belt. So let's find our belt get a belt in the hand. Of course, mine's over here. We will catch the belt on the right foot as we extend that foot up into the air. We can hold the side of the belt in each hand and extend the left leg long so the calf is on the mat. Now we'll pull on the belt a little so that we feel a gentle stretch of the muscles of the back of that leg. And then we'll engage our Mula Bandha, lifting in toward the spine, up toward the heart. And then we'll lift our forehead toward this leg and have 3 breaths. We'll lower our head back to the mat and continue to keep the left leg engaged, the one on the mat, still pushing the heel, the calf, and the thigh rooting downward. And we'll give this moment to this right leg stretch. We really like that hamstring pulling on the back of the hips here and the femur. Alrighty, now we'll hold both sides of the belt in the right hand. We can extend our left arm out in a T shape straight out from the collarbone, hand all the way to the ground. We'll take a breath in and rooting that left leg, keeping it actively rooting downward, we'll open this right leg out to the right. We can catch the right elbow on the ground to help support the weight of the leg. And we'll take some breaths here. You can hear the crackling of my fire. One more breath here. And we'll lift this leg up to center. We can release it from the belt. Bring that right foot back down to earth. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So we'll catch the left leg this time. Extend that heel toward the sky. Hold the side of the belt in each hand. And extend the right leg out long, bringing the calf to the mat. We'll bring that left leg in until we feel that gentle yoga stretch at the back of the leg. The muscles pulling on the bone are what cue our bodies to keep the bone dense at that spot. So weight-bearing exercises, jumping up and down, any type of pulling of the muscle on the bone through these yoga poses, for example, is signaling to our body that that bone better stay nice and dense right there. Let's pack some mineral onto it. And having just broken my shoulder, I can tell you the doctors are advising me to take lots of vitamin D. Not so much calcium, but vitamin D. I think our understanding of bone mineral density is shifting. So we'll engage our Mula Bandha, and then we'll lift our forehead up toward this left leg. Have 3 breaths. And then we'll lower it down, lower the head down. Keep the leg as it is. We'll make sure our right leg is engaged, right heel, calf, and thigh rooting downward. We'll transfer both sides of this belt into our left hand. We'll open our right arm out to a T shape out on our side. We'll take a breath in, and as we exhale, we'll open this left leg out to the left. Maybe bring the elbow to the ground to help support the leg. We'll root that right calf, heel, thigh downward to help counterbalance. And we'll take some long breaths here. From your belly button, bring energy down that rooted right leg, out that right heel. At the same time, you're bringing energy from that belly button and out that lifted left leg and out the left heel. We'll have another breath here. And then on your next inhalation, let's lift that leg up to center. And then we'll release it from the belt on this side. Bring that foot back down to earth. Well, we're going to roll over toward our side. Use our upper hand to help push up, and we'll bring ourselves to a seat on the mat. I need a little counterbalance help. So we'll move through Marichyasana here. Both legs extended for a moment in Dandasana, hands at the side, keeping our torso tall and at a 90-degree angle from the hips. We have a tendency to slouch out at the low back, so help really lift that heart center away from the belly to keep that 90 degrees. Now we'll bend our right leg. Place the right foot on the ground. You can hang on to the right shin to help draw us tall. And we'll keep that left leg active just like we did in the last pose. Heel, calf, and thigh rooting. We're going to open out that right arm, swing it out to the right, bring it behind us. We'll bring the right hand to the ground. Use that arm like scaffolding for your spine. And we're going to hug this right leg with our left arm. My hand is not able to hug too far, but it can hug a little. We'll keep that left leg engaged, rooting that heel, calf, and thigh. We'll turn our nose to the right. We'll hug that leg in and make contact with the belly and that right inner thigh. Have 3 breaths here. Now we'll release back to center. We can change that leg position, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left leg bends, right heel, calf, and thigh root downward. We sit tall. Bring that left hand out, put the left hand to the mat. Use it like scaffolding for the spine. We'll take that right arm and grasp the opposite leg. Turning our nose to the left, sitting tall, keeping the shoulders broad. We'll have our 3 breaths here. And then we'll release back to center. This next pose is very similar. It just involves some bent legs. So we'll bend both of our legs. We're going to turn our knees to the right side, and we'll capture our left ankle on our right arch. It's a bit of a Bharadvajasana legs setup. Alrighty, so let's take that right arm. We'll open it out behind us. We'll bring that hand to the ground like scaffolding for the spine. We'll lift the heart center away from the belly. We'll turn the nose to the right, and we'll take some breath. One more breath here. Reverse back to center. Now let's lift the left knee and we'll bring the left foot to the other side of the right thigh. So the right shin, knee, and thigh are all down on the ground like our foundation. The left knee is lifted, left foot is crossed over the right leg. We'll turn to the left, hugging that leg with our opposite arm. Left hand reaches to the ground to remind our spine to stay tall. We turn our nose to the left. Let's take another breath here. After our next inhalation, we'll exhale our way back to center. We'll bring both feet in front of us. We'll let the knees lower down toward the left, hopefully catching the right ankle in the left arch. We'll bring the left arm all the way around and behind us. And we'll lift that heart center up and away, arcing around. The left hand goes to the mat. It can act as scaffolding for the spine. We'll take some breaths here. Another breath in. We'll exhale our way back to center. Now it's the right leg that comes up. We place the right foot on the other side of the left leg. We turn to the right, bringing the right hand to the ground behind us. We hug this opposite leg with our left arm. We turn our nose to the right. We're making contact between our belly and the right thigh. Have 3 breaths here. After your next breath in, we can release our way back to center. Whew. So far, so good. So our last pose for this session is Savasana, finding a comfortable position on your back. It may help to put a lift under the knees. It may help to put a blanket on to stay warm and cozy so you can find some relaxation and not shiver through Savasana. The traditional position is legs out, arms comfortably at our sides. We'll keep an aware stillness, just noticing the sounds in the room around you, noticing any sounds you can pick up outside of the room that you're in. And then drawing your awareness all the way back in, do you notice any sounds of your own body? Just follow your breath. Let your body feel strong and still. a few more breaths there in your Savasana. Let your limbs be heavy. Let your body be relaxed. Bring your awareness back to your room, back to my voice, and wiggle your fingers and toes. Gently roll towards your right side and take a long breath, letting the air completely exit the body. And then we'll bring ourselves to comfortably seated upright positions. Let's take a breath together before we continue on with our evening, letting the air out of our body. We'll take a nice, full, slow inhalation. Hold that breath for just a heartbeat or two. And then softly but completely let it go. Exhaling and then exhaling just a little bit more. Pause for 2 or 3 heartbeats before you invite your next breath in fresh and full. Let your breathing return to its normal rhythm. I gently raise my gaze. I press my palms together in front of my heart. And I bow to you. Namaste. May your bone mineral density grow ever stronger.